Beautiful evening, beautiful evening, beautiful evening to you all. It is your boy, your favorite, Birds Eye View, Melanin as Woke. And I come before you tonight as promised. Just a little delay. You know how technology is. It never wants to, behave and act right when you need it to behave and act right. But I was patient with it. And surely behold, here we are. So thank you for everybody that will be jumping on live with me. And also thank you for everybody that will be coming along in the future and also watching the video and taking, notice of what's going on this side of things. So just, beautiful, beautiful things are going on. The world is a little chaotic and everything, but we still finding our peace, right? So as promised, we're taking a look into the book of Revelation. So we started off last night and we dove into chapters 1 through 4. And tonight we're going to continue along that journey. But this time we're actually going to be reading a bit further. And we're actually going to read chapters 5 through 8, right? So it's going to be a good time, good night, and I'm going to break down a lot of, what we're reading and just add the context to it because I think that's important to understand it so then, people can't take advantage of you and your lack of knowledge, right? You at least know, what you had to get yourself prepared for and know, like we said last night quite a few times, what was, what is, and what is to come. All right, so it's all important. So we're just taking that journey. So I want to start out tonight. We're going to do it a little different, right? So I want to open up tonight with the Lord's Prayer. So as you may see, I have Matthew chapter 6 up, and then that's going to be we're going to start reading that chapter or verse 10. Well, let's see. Not even. Verse 9. And this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right? So, beautiful message being shared there. And without any further ado, we'll dive into the lesson here tonight. Right, and we want to thank the Most High for His blessings and His clearance and His understanding and His acknowledgement to at least make this even possible. Right, so we thank you to the Most High. We give you all praises, and we love you from the bottom of our heart to the end of our days, and we acknowledge everything that you do for us. So we're going to pick this up at Revelation 5. Now you'll notice now we're getting into the actual book. So last night we laid the foundation on what it is that you receive, right? Now we're going to get into some of those events that will be taking place in Revelation. So let's take off. The sealed book. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. That number 7 again. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all of the earth. And he came and he took the book out of the right hand of him which that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. Powerful. And the prayers of the saints. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou hast slain and hast redeemed us to God by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto gods and kings and priests, and we shall reign on earth. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessings. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and which is under the earth, and such are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, Bless and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. And the 4 beasts said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and worshiped him that lived forever and ever. So let's talk about this. Let's put this in a little bit more context. That was an opportunity to read it, right? So we're talking about this sealed book. Now, in this sealed book is presented. Now, the sealed book, as it says, it has 7, right? We saw the reference to that number 7 quite a few times, right, in this one, right? So in the midst, it was the 4 beasts, and then we had the book, and it was the Lamb first. He was slain. He had 7 horns and 7 eyes. That's what the 7 spirits of God sent forth unto all of the earth. Remember last night, those were the 7 angels that went to the 7 churches, right? So now these are the 7 spirits that are going forth onto those churches, right? To profess unto them. But keep in mind, it reads here too, have prevailed to open a book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So it was a book. There were 7 seals on it, right? And then also beyond that book, they said, oh wow, who is worthy? And it points out here that no, the Lamb is worthy, right? The Lamb is worthy. So the Lamb represents God the Son, right? So he took the book out of the right hand of him that sat on the throne. You see this there? He took that book. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps. This is so beautiful. What are those harps? Those harps are the prayers of the saints, right? So you see how the prayers of the saints turn into music before God's ears, and that's why He's able to answer your prayers, right? Right. So there's music before Him. It's the harps of the saints, and they're praying it. They're the messengers, right? Beautiful there, right? But most importantly, the Lamb, right? And you saw reference to the Lamb, right, as if it were slain, right? And in the midst of the throne, right? Right here, it says, this screen is not acting right. I want to highlight a little bit more, but you'll see me move my cursor. Stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes. So beautiful. Let's continue along. Let's cancel that. Let's continue along. So Revelation 6. Let's read this one. Let's see what this one has to say. So opening of the seals. So remember, the book has 7 seals. So we're gonna begin our journey opening those seals. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. Right? So this is important before we get into the content of what's about to happen, right? Because a lot of people may have had a picture or a recent and visual, if you will, of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, right? So I want to put this in more context. That's why we're reading this, right? So you just won't see these four horsemen of the apocalypse, especially, from it being circulated as far as Beyonce's song, right? So you don't take that and run with it and not understand what is being portrayed, right? Or what is the imagery that's being shared and what it means, right? All right, so that's all important there, right? And it says, and I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, and one of the four beasts saying, come and see. And I saw, and I behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow and a crown, and was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer, right? Now, that's giving us a little bit more of the story of perhaps the Antichrist, perhaps the Christ, right? But this is the first horseman that'll be released, right? Now, we'll continue reading. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard one of the second beast saying, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that he should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. What horse does this represent? This represents the horse of war, right? Right? So, although we have war going on at this present moment, right? We've always had war going on, right? So this is nothing new, right? Now, it's not until that war turns into the holy war, right? The magnitude which we're reading at this point in time, which you should get real leery. Now, we're bubbling up to some things, but don't get me wrong. This is not that horse. This is not that horse of war, which is being mentioned in this book of Revelation right now, which we're reading in chapter 6, verse 3, right? Now, if we go back to verse 1, right, chapter 6, verse 1, when the first horse, the white horse, with a bow and then also a crown, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. One notion gives me the idea of this is the Christ, right? Because the Christ, so this timeline is expanding from the beginning of creation to the end of creation. So remember, it says went forth conquering and to conquer. The Christ also went forth conquering and to conquer because he was with us in the Garden of Eden, right? The two trees of life, the tree of life, right? Not the two tree of life, the one tree of life, and then the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? So he went forth at the beginning of time, right? Right, the beginning of creation. This is God the Son, right? And then also, it symbolizes the Antichrist when the Antichrist comes at his point in time, right? Because he's going to go forth as well, looking to conquer and to conquer. He's going to conquer for a period of time. His period of time is going to be 3.5 years, right? So it's very important to understand, that's representing, both, because it's representing the full scale of mankind, right? So that's important. But we're going to pick up here on verse 5 as well. And when he had opened the third seal, and I heard the beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, right? So now we're on our third horse, the black horse. And he had sat on him, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Come see, thou hurt not the oil and the wine. What does this horse represent? This is the horse of famine, right? This is the horse of people getting frail, right? People, having to, go on a diet, a forced diet, if you will, right? A lack thereof of food, of nourishment. This is what it means by having a scale, right? So we're weighing the food. So those scales sometimes, and wow, that's funny. A lot of these grocery stores, I haven't seen them of late, but I remember growing up and shopping at least 4 or 5 years ago, the silver scales, right? And you just lay your produce on them, and it gives you, a pounds, right, or whatever the case may be, a metric which you could go off to know how much you have, right? A quantity. So that's what that's symbolizing. He had a pair of balances in his hands, right? And I heard a voice in the midst say, a measure of wheat for a penny, right? So only have a penny. That's all I could afford at even that time. A measure of wheat, right? And 3 measures of barley for a penny, right? And hurt not the oil and the wine, right? So don't cut me short on the oil of the wine. I might be a little, I might be, it's rough times, right? Because we had a horse of what first? War. Now we have a horse of what? Famine, right? And then if we keep in mind with the first horse symbolizing, at that time the Antichrist horse, it's crazy times going on in the first place when the Antichrist moves in, right? Into that kingdom, right? That the new temple which is going to be built. So not until that time, right? Verse 7, it says, and when he had opened the 4th seal, and I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that was set on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto him over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. What's that? 4th horse? Death, right? Behold, a pale horse. Death, right? Ghost town, right? So think about it. The natural chronological order or the natural progression of things. You have war, you have famine, death, right? And then also at the same time, it's not just affecting mankind, it's affecting the animals too, the animal kingdom, right? So your dogs and your cats and all those, and then all your wild animals, they're not eating as much, right? So, the food chain is kind of crossing over into, each other. So at that point in time, you're even getting killed by the beasts of the earth, right? Right? We're not living in that time right now. We're not close to it into this drastic of a scale, but keep in mind it's important that we read this and get this understanding in this context, because at any point in time it could happen, right? And I do believe a lot of things are bubbling up, right? But it's important that you understand this full thing, so then you can make your judgment on what may or may not be happening. Okay, all right, so let's continue on. Verse 9. And it says, and we opened the 5th seal, and I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried out with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season unto their fellow servants also, and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. All right. So what did he see when that 5th seal was open? He saw all of the souls of those that were slain for the word of God. Right. So the true saints, right? And those saints, their souls, they poured out to the Most High, and they said, oh Lord, how long until you avenge our blood? And what did he say? In response, he said, you know what? Just a little longer until it's fulfilled that your fellow brothers are killed like you were, right? Right? So it has to, God, the Most High is giving us a time, right? And he knows that time. We don't know that time. So that's why we have to be vigilant. But that time is still happening. Over the years, we are going to continue to mourn. Just like in past years, people mourned over their fallen loved ones and people and individuals. Those things are going to happen. But at this time, it's going to be on such a magnitude and scale, right, that even the saints that are fallen are gonna their soul is gonna yearn out, right? Their voices are gonna yell out. And I beheld, verse 12, and I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Right? So the sun is black as a sackcloth of hair. So black sun go from shining light to just black, no light, right? And the moon became as blood, so no light shining on the earth. and the stars of the heaven fell onto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So just imagine a wind, a hurricane coming through and knocking all the fruit off of any tree. In this example, they gave the parallel of a fig tree, right? Getting their untimely figs knocked off by a mighty wind. And heaven departed as a scroll, right? So the skies depart, open up, if you will, as a scroll, as it were rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Can you imagine mountains moving out of their places? Can you imagine islands moving out of their places, like quite literally moving out of the places? And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves of the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Right? So do you see that? It gives you the full spectrum. Everybody. It said the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the captains, the mighty men, the bondmen, the free men. Everybody hid themselves, right? All right? So those unrighteous men. But when you're living in the righteousness and you understand this word and you do this word correctly, right? And you love your thy neighbor as you love thyself, and you follow those commandments, and you understand the grander scheme and the grander pictures, you're not worried about all of that. But the men and the women that are, this is what they'll be doing. They'll be hiding in the mountains because they won't understand at that point in time. Oh yeah, it's real. But they'll know that it's real because you see they said to them, who could stop the wrath, right? Because then they see and they know that the Most High is real at that point in time. You remember the heavens rolled back. The heavens rolled back. Wow. So 6 seals have been loosed, right? Now we're going to get to the 7th seal. But before we get to the 7th seal, you'll notice even we're in Revelation 7. Something has to happen, right? So the saints of the Most High have to be sealed, right? We're going to read about that. It's going to give us a little bit of that story, right? And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great mountain, which no man could number. Before we even get into that, let's go back to those 12. So it's 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 sons of Joseph, right? Jacob, right? So Joseph being the second youngest. When I said Joseph, right? He's not a son. He's not one of the father. He's a son, right? So the 12 sons, 12 times 12 is 144. So this is the 144,000, which was referenced earlier in this verse, right? And he said, and lo, right? Where was it? Where was it at? Right about. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000, right? So 12 times 12, 144,000, all right? So those are those. Now, Verse 9 is going to give us more context because it's not. Now, most people take it and run with it, or maybe all you've heard throughout your whole entire lifetime is 144,000. If you got this connotation that it's only 144,000, and that's the furthest thing from the truth, right? The 144,000 have direct reference to those that come directly out of the bloodline of those 12 tribes, which were just mentioned. But verse 9 is going to tell us it's going to be a multitude, a magnitude from all walks of life, no matter what creed, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what race, no matter what gender. And it says this, no matter what borders they come from. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne and upon the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne of their faces and worshiped God, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and glory be unto our God forever and ever. Amen. And unto the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came thee? Right? So this is the question he's asking. Going back to this magnitude, and lo, a great magnitude which no man can number, of all nations and kindreds and spirits and tongues, right? So going back to that, he says right here, and he said, what did he say? And I say, for arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And where did they come, basically? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which come out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwelleth among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sunlight on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto the living fountains of water, and God shall wipe away all of their tears from their eyes. Isn't that beautiful, right? So you see how that 144,000 turned into a great multitude which no man could number, right? But it gives you context. It lets you know that they washed their robes, and they earned their keep. They washed their robes and made them white with in the blood of the Lamb in great tribulation. So they overcame great tribulation, right? And these are they which came out of great tribulation, right? So that's giving you reference to those horsemen, those 4 horsemen that are released, right? This is the time of great tribulation, right? This great tribulation begins when that first horseman, the Antichrist, moves into the holy temple, which is going to be built in Jerusalem. But not until that time. That's the 3.5 year great tribulation time period. And people are going to wash their robes, because you may not understand this truth at this moment. You may fight this truth. You may ignore this truth. You may say, these people are crazy, right? They're teaching this evil. They're teaching this hate. I want a nice, soft, comfortable Jesus Christ, right? I don't want to hear about a God the Son, a Yahshua, that's coming forth with the Son. I don't want to hear that. Right? Who is this Yahshua? Who is this Yahshua? Who is this Yahweh? They don't want to hear that, right? But when the real time comes for them to have an ear for the teachings, that's when they understand. That's why when that mountain, when the heavens rolled back like a scroll, every man went to the mountains and asked the mountains to fall on them, because at that time they knew it was real, right? They know it's real now, but it's not real a lot of times for us human beings until it's too late, right? And it's my hopes and my wishes and my prayers to help people and help individuals so it doesn't become too late, right? That's why we're going through this, right? So too late is not an option. It's getting prepared and being quite early, right? So moving along to our last chapter here tonight, Revelation 8. And we're moving to that seventh seal now, people. So remember, 7 is the number of completion. All right, so when that 7, when we get to that 7th seal, let's see what fireworks are going to pop off. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was a silence in the heaven about the space of half an hour. Right? And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them which were given 7 trumpets. So you see this number 7, all 7, right? So now we blew the 7th. Well, the 7th seal was loose. What came forth were 7 angels, and these 7 angels also had 7 trumpets, right? And this is important because we're coming up on a Most High Day that a lot of the world has no idea about, right? As far as what now these 7 angels which have 7 trumpets signify. This is the blowing of the trumpets, because now we're going to notice that every time a trumpet blows, something must happen, right? So this is why in past times, you know, when they went out to war, they would have the cavalry would have a band and music and something, you know, before them, trumpet player, horn players. You know, even way back, you know, caveman days and coming through those, you know, not so modern times, they had horns out of elephant tusk and things of that nature. This is where they get that context from, because trumpets signify events, right? So 7 seal loose, 7 angels coming forth with 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with prayers of all the saints unto the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it onto the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. So this is quite literal, people. This is quite literal when we say this, right? At this time, a censer being able to hold charcoal, right? So and an incenser to light those fumes, so those fumes could go up to the Most High, right? But also he took the charcoals, and when he emptied the censer, what happens? Those thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake happened on earth, right? And the seven angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. And the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. Can you imagine that, people? Well, let's pause there. It said, these things are quite literal things at this point in time, people. It said, and the first angel sounded, and there followed hail. We've seen hail, you know. Well, maybe you've never seen hail, but you heard of hail, right? But have you ever seen hail mingled with fire and blood? Fire burns stuff, so how did it not burn this blood? But it's gonna do it at this point in time, right? Because at this point in time, you never seen the heaven scroll roll back, right? You never seen the sun go black. You never seen the moon go red. You never seen those things, right? So it's quite a few things you're not gonna see, but it's gonna be happening. It's gonna be quite real. And then it says, verse 8, and the second angel sounded, and it were as it were a great mountain burning with a fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood, and a third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. So what's going on there, right? So remember, when these trumpets are being blown, things must happen, right? And when things, why are these things happening? This is the most high God the Son, right? Jesus Christ, Yahshua, right? This is him coming back. Jehovah, this is him coming back, right? The Messiah, right? Right? All these synonyms to describe one, right? God the Son. I don't care what platform or what people you come from, as long as you understand that there is a God the Father and God the Son, right? If you understand that, and you understand that God the Son has to come back and he's our mediator, right? Then you understand you're working on some level of knowledge, right? If you don't understand that, right, I'm not saying you're the foulest, most cruel person on earth, but I'm also saying that man, it's gonna be real tough to make it to God the Father, because you need to come through God the Son, right? So all those names, right, which I gave before you, right? So it's bringing forth his war on the kingdoms of the earth, right? Because this is his kingdom on earth, right? So that's what's happening. He's doing war with the earth, right? And the people that live on the earth, which are not righteous. So that's why that first angel sounded, and there was hell mixed with fire and blood, right? And it came down, and the third part of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up, right? Right. So this is him causing war, and he's not using any man-made weapons. He's not using an atom bomb, a nuclear bomb, if you will. He's not using submarines and tanks and AR-15s and 9mm and 38s. But no, he's not using that. A natural war. I'm gonna burn up all your trees. I'm gonna burn up all your grass. Right. Next, I'm gonna burn up. You know what? I'm gonna hit your seas, right? Because I'm hitting your land, you're gonna think you're gonna get smart and get on your boat, right, and your yachts, and then your submarines, and go to the sea, right? Because there's only so many places we could go, right? So that's why human beings are so fascinated with getting off the earth now, because they know, right? This is the kingdom. The kingdom is on earth. They're trying to get off the earth, right? Because it's not their kingdom, right? It's not your kingdom if you're not living righteous, right? So that's why it says a third part of the sea became blood, right? So that's why he's attacking now the sea, because he know people going to flee to the sea and the oceans, right? And the third part of it, the creatures which were in the sea and had life, they died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed, right? So you see this natural war that's going on, right? So we're going to continue with verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon a third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of the earth. And the name of the star was wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Right? So first I hit your sea. Now I'm gonna hit your actual rivers, and then your other fountains and waterways, your lakes, your streams, right? And what am I gonna hit it with? Wormwood, because it's gonna make the water better, right? Man, what are we like 80, 90, 70, a third, 3/4 of water? Right? So we need water. Like I need water right now, right? But we're gonna get through this lesson, right? So can you imagine the magnitude of time where our natural water is everywhere is Flint water? Wow. And it's bitter like wormwood? It's real, people. So that's the third angel. And the fourth angel is going to sound now. Verse 12. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten. Right? So remember, the sun was already black. Right? And the third part of the sun was smitten. And the third part of the moon was already red. Wow. And the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and a day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. So it's 24 hours and a day. 12 and 12, if we will, just to do it half and half, right? So can you imagine 4 hours of the day and 4 hours of the night not showing? I've never seen it. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's saying it right here that that's what's gonna happen when that fourth angel sounded, right? Because the sun and the moon are affected at this point in time. In verse 13, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. And I think that's a good stopping point. You see how the book naturally gave us a beautiful stopping point, right? Because this angel now is flying in the midst of the heavens, giving the earth a message, right? So it's like, oh wow, you thought those four things, those four trumpet sounds and those four angels was bad. Whoa, whoa, whoa. To the inhabitants of the earth by reason of other voices of the trumpets of the three. That's why it's three woes, right? Which are yet to sound. So it's letting us know tomorrow, it's going to heat up, people. It's going to heat up. So I want to thank everyone for, being along this journey and taking an opportunity to join me on this adventure as we are going through and reading Revelation. So, wow, just some powerful stuff. So, I hope you guys like that. I hope it made quite a lot of sense to you. Wow. And we're going to pick up tomorrow and hear what's going to happen when those final three angels blow their trumpet as well. All right. So that's all I have for you people here tonight. So till the next time my voice meets your ears, no matter where you are, I always seek to harmonize this world by celebrating culture, increasing understanding, and building bonds of respect. Over and out, people. Much love. God bless. Thanks for joining.